Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And if you're having a bunch of anxiety because of the fact that it's Go Battle Night, do not fear. I have the top 5 teams for Ultra Premier Classic that just updated right now thanks to our Lord and Savior PvPoke.com. So, a little tidbit about anxiety. There's something called a feedback loop, where your mind will keep thinking about something over and over again, and you will assume worst case scenario when you're worrying about things that shouldn't be there. The fact of the matter is, we have zero control over anything in life. The same thing goes for Go Battle Lag. In Go Battle League, there is not a way for you to actually manipulate how you control the algorithm. You can lose all 5 leads, you can get hard counter for 5 leads, you can have a bad day, or a bad week, or in my case, a bad month because you can't just stop lag. Or you can't stop lag from screwing you out of win conditions. So do your best for this year, and we'll see how it goes. But anyways, please consider contributing to pvpoke.com. So to do this, you can distract yourself by inserting something, do something else other than Go Battle League to kill your feedback loop after you're done with all your battles. Usually people will try to like relax and then do it after. No, that's gonna just leave you thinking about it. So finish all your battles and then don't look at the app. Unless you're like, you like playing casually. So that's a way you can break the feedback loop. Just do all your battles and then stop. Don't do anything else so you don't have to think about Pokemon Go the next day. Unless, again, you're playing casually. So you can flip from PvP to casual mode and then you'll be fine. But just do something that breaks you out of thinking about PvP or just doing PvP, and there you go. There's my little mental health secret from a mental health clinician that's trying to be a marriage family therapist. Well, I'm almost there. It's just... no, yeah. You guys know why. Anyways, please consider contributing to pvpoke.com. So again, these updated today. This is going to be the top 5. So I'm going to give you the top 5 teams. These aren't too complicated, so it's not gonna be too in-depth, but as you see, a lot of people are using these combinations, so there's not one specific team out there that some individuals using that's like making a Hail Mary. Pretty much everyone just doing a whole ton of combinations. As you see, Trevenant has made its way into the meta. Really bad idea to release something like this, especially during the pandemic, but you know what? I don't work for Niantic, nor would I ever work for them. They're a terrible company, and you're lucky you signed their TOS has class action lawsuit. Otherwise, anyways, without further ado, here are the top 5 teams. Alright, so the first team we have here is Galarian, Slowking, Obstagoon, and Snorlax. Standing at a mighty 566. Unfortunately, it's not 69, but you know what? We'll get there. But it's still being used by a lot of individuals at 0.6%. Snorlax is your safe switch, standard superpower, and Obstagoon in the back. This team is here for one reason. You want to know why? Because here's what happens. Galarian Slowking loses against Trevenant. So what do? You put 2 counters to Trevenant in the back. Very standard team, performs really well, but has insanely terrible coverage. This is just banking on the fact that your opponent has a Trevenant. For the most part. Or that they lead with Nidoqueen and then they throw their... Usually Nidoqueen and Trevenant are together, so like if they lose the lead with Nidoqueen, you could trap the Trevenant and then you win via RPS. D for coverage, B for bulk, C for safety. So this team is kind of bulky. A lot of consistent damage, but as far as coverage and safety goes, you're really banking on RPS, because this is a very RPS-like team. Galarian Slowking loses the lead, or if you see a fighter like Excavalier in the back, you are going to have an insanely hard time. In fact, Excavalier beats this entire team, so just keep out there. Even though it performs well, just be very careful that this team really relies on you winning the lead. You have a lot of weaknesses. As you see here, there are a ton of things that can kill you and a lot of things that are viable. When you have a team with a low coverage score like this, you have to, in order for it to be effective, you have to avoid a particular type. Unfortunately, Ultra Premier Classic has a ton of types, so it's not that I'm not recommending this team. It's standardly performed well. However, if you really just want to like run through your battles and try to pray rock, paper, scissors is on your side, I don't even know if this is a team for you, because honestly, Snorlax and unless you boost with Obstagoon, Snorlax is pretty slow. Again, Snorlax is your safe switch, Galarian Slowking is your lead, and then Obstagoon closes out. Hopefully you get the boost. For this team, you're using an Obstagoon with Night Slash and Cross Chop, so you're not using Hyper Beam or Gunshot. So it's very standard, a lot of pressure, again, really banks on you winning the lead. Next up, we got Nidoqueen, Obstagoon, and Trevenant. So this is a pretty standard team. Trevenant's going to be your safe switch, so yes, remember I was talking about the Nidoqueen Trevenant? Remember I was talking about how Nidoqueen and Trevenant are usually together? This is the team that usually has Nidoqueen Trevenant together. Not too much from the Galarian, as you see, Obstagoon, Snorlax, not too much of a difference. But as you see here, very, very standard and powerful team. Except this team does have an A for coverage. This team covers a lot of things well. Trevenant is very powerful, breaks shields, and Obstagoon is able to boost, so you have a lot of chances. Not a lot of bulk, just because of Nidoqueen. Good safety and consistency. As you see for your weaknesses, Gliscor and Charizard are your only problems for the most part. However, you can straight Poison Fang through Charizard, but you're still... Poliwrath isn't a great time for you. Ice Punch is able to do a ton of damage against you, and you can try to two-shield... Not really, you can't really two-shield. I don't think you can two-shield your way through a Poliwrath. Is King of Charmanders wrong? I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. Yeah, you can't. So, you will lose the two-shield... Well, Poliwrath actually loses the two-shield against Nidoqueen, so I am wrong. So you can straight Poison Fang through. However, there are 3 turns of difference. So if you lag, you die. So I'm guessing that's why Nidoqueen is so powerful. Nidoqueen, outside of things like, I would say, Lapras, because it's so bulky, or Milotic, you can straight Poison Fang through Charizard and Charizard and Poliwrath pretty comfortably. Just be careful though, because this team can be prone to RPS, like I mentioned before. There are teams out there that will take advantage of the fact that you have a Trevenant, so you will have an Obstagoon or a Snorlax likely waiting in the wings for your Trevenant, and it's a terrible matchup for you. Still, pretty low threat, low threat score in the sense that, like, it's 600, below 600 is a low threat score, but again, be careful because a lot of people can use this as your target. For example, Nidoqueen loses pretty hard against Crobat, which is why Crobat is the #1 lead in the #1 team for this cup. The next 2 teams are Trevenant leads. As you see, they're very powerful, 60 and 69. I would say this team's a lot mightier than this one. That's just my personal opinion, just because of the number. But you know what? It's still very powerful. So team number 3 is Trevenant lead. Nidoqueen is your safe switch, and Empoleon closes out. Great coverage, not a lot of bulk. When you put Empoleon in a team, Empoleon is very attack weighted, so you're not going to really have a lot of bulk. But this team is excessively powerful, great safety and consistency. Now, overall, Trevenant is the most powerful league, so you don't have to worry about the fact that, hey, I don't have a great league. Just if you have enough candy and Stardust, because it is quite expensive. Now, your potential threats are Trevenant leads itself, as you see here, or anything that threatens Trevenant. If you lose the lead with Trevenant, you safe switch in a Nidoqueen, close out with Empoleon. You want to be careful, though, with this team, because Obstagoon can give you a very hard time, especially if it boosts. Trevenant is weak to Obstagoon, Empoleon is also weak to Obstagoon. So again, you're kind of banking on rock, paper, scissors here. Nidoqueen, even though it is very powerful in this lead, it's prone to confusion safe switches. So not super safe, very low threat score though. So as long as you somewhat win the lead or have a neutral lead, you should do pretty well with this team. Statistically, it performs well and can do very well for you for Ultra Premier Classic. Alright, the next team is basically the same as the previous team, except you are using, I think, Charizard. Well, Charizard's your safe switch, I think, or Empoleon. I'm not sure. This team doesn't have a lot of safety. As you see here, it does have a B, but in the sense you don't. If you lose the lead with Trevenant, Charizard is prone to getting run through things like, for example, if your opponent switches a Gyarados into you, Nidoqueen can straight Poison Fang you down. Charizard isn't the bulkiest thing in the world, however, I think what happens here is that you're basically going to sack Trevenant in the lead, or you win the lead with Trevenant and you just realign. Because so many people are using Excavaliers right now, or just bug types, yeah, Excavaliers, or just the fact that Charizard has a great typing against things like Gallade. It's also able to give you, does great against Charmers and also against Venusaur. Specifically the Charmers, which is why you don't see Charizard with Dragon Breath. This team is very powerful, has the mighty number of 69. Also, a lot of people seem to be using this one. 0.6% usage, Trevenant, Charizard, and Empoleon. It's a very strong team and has shown to do very well. As you see, amazing coverage, not a lot of bulk. We talked about the Penguin. Emperor Penguin is not great at having a really big butt. It does skip leg day. Actually, I don't know if Empoleon skipped leg day. Well, if you think about it, it kind of skips leg day. If Empoleon is on a throne, it sits all day, so I can't imagine it's squatting a lot. Or maybe it's just a figure of Penguin, like, you know, Penguin anatomy that I have no idea about. If you would like to educate King of Charmanders on how penguins operate and you know more than me, please let me know in the comments. Anyways, if you see this team is only... Dragonite is your biggest weakness, as if you see it in the back. However, Dragonite doesn't have a very comfortable matchup against Trevenant in the 2s. The thing about the 2 shield, though, is that you have to Shadow Ball. So, as you see here, you can't straight Seed Bomb. You have to get a Shadow Ball through shields, which is why I mean, like, this strategy is kind of like sacking Trevenant in the lead. You can a way you could play Dragonite is that you can sacrifice, you get a Shadow Ball through, you're golden. You can double shield and like Seed Bomb down and Dragon Claw. But if you don't, you kind of lose. So just be very careful. Most of the time, you're probably going to be sacrificing Trevenant in the lead against Dragonite. Then you realign and hopefully Community Day moves carry you through the back row, which is Charizard, Empoleon, Hydro Cannon, and Blast Burn are very, very strong. Charizard can also farm down a lot of those Excavaliers like I mentioned, which is why Fire Spin Zard isn't a bad idea for this meta, and it does really well against Charmers. This team does actually very well against Charmers. Just because you have Charizard, Empoleon in the back row, you can use Trevenant to break shield. Versatile, powerful, and deserving of number 2. Alright, and your most powerful team standing at a whooping 594, which means it's really freaking good, is Crobat, Obstagoon, and Snorlax. This team has a ridiculous rating. Crobat's a popular lead for the sheer virtue that you stop the poison types. You do very well against Trevenant with Air Slash, and it's very weird. This is the first time Crobat's ever been featured on a #1 team. But it's pretty standard to have like a flyer core or something of that sort in Ultra Premier Cup. As you see, not a lot of coverage, good bulk and safety, and great consistency. So you do a lot of damage. Basically, this team is kill Trevenant. As you see, Trevenant loses against this entire team. So you want to see a Trevenant with this team. Crobat also has a very strong matchup against Nidoqueen. It effectively walls Nidoqueen. However, you might want to be careful with Swampert, just because the problem with Crobat is that you can run it over with Community moves. Swampert with Hydro Cannon is very strong, and it can give Crobat a huge problem. Crobat does fall against Swampert, as well as things such as Lapras. So Ice types, electric types, if you have one. If you are using Ampharos, Ampharos is probably the only electric type I can feature. Swampert, you lose the lead, you safe switch into Snorlax, you try to close out. What really sucks is, again, if you have an Excavalier. Well, Excavalier does really well against your back row, so just be very careful. That's why it doesn't have a huge coverage rating, because of your back row. Well, anything with this type of back row, statistically, it does really well. As you see, your biggest problem is you're probably, like I said, just going to concern your back row. If you lose the lead, you're going to safe switch into Snorlax, and you're going to close out with Obstagoon and hopefully Crobat with shields and energy, or if you boost, does really well. This is using a Night/Cross Chop Obstagoon, standard moveset for Obstagoon, so nothing fancy here, pretty standard. Hopefully you do really well with it if you are using it in Ultra Premier Cup. However, 0.4% usage, like I mentioned, there's not a lot of unique teams here. A lot of the top teams were used by more than one individual, a bunch of combinations to try and climb and make legend in Season 9. Unless you get your soul taken by Go Battle League. There's no algorithm, no team, or no strategy that will allow you to circumvent the fact that your game is lagging. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I know it's like really tough, because if you are lagging right now in Go Battle Night, it's honestly not a surprise. I'm lagging pretty hard right now. It's cost me a lot of win conditions, and unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just gonna play through and hope that I can climb today, tomorrow, and for the rest of the season. It's unfortunate, but unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about it. With the latest raid update, it's pretty clear the direction Niantic is going. The World Championships, or Pokemon Go PvP in general, is kind of just there. They're not really focusing on it. Raids are their biggest cash cow, and of course they're going to focus on that. However, I do hope these teams do help you out. I hope this analysis does help you out. Really appreciate all you guys that come by every single time. And even though like you're like, okay, I already know this, but you know what, King of Charmanders is cool, so I'm gonna go hang out. Appreciate you guys. If you do me a huge favor, if you're not subscribed yet, please like and subscribe. It's totally free. You can easily subscribe by putting your mouse on the bottom right, that box right there. It'll pop up the sub tab. Really appreciate my current subscribers. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets. Good luck on today's season, because like I mentioned, it's terrible right now. This is the worst season I've ever had due to lag, and it's very hard to compete right now. So I feel you, I empathize with you, but good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.